Well, on the subject of being a difficult winter, that was also the warning from Kwasi Kwarteng, the Business and Energy Secretary, as he set out the challenge from rising gas prices. Energy and food bills are increasing and many families face a £20 a week benefit cut. Chris Jones is the Chief Executive of Care and Repair Cymru, a charity who support older people to live independently across Wales. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Mark.
Thanks very much indeed for joining us on the programme. Before we look at what the potential consequences of rising prices are, in terms of the level of poverty we're talking about across Wales, what proportions of people do we think could be impacted by rising prices, both of food and of fuel?
Well, certainly for fuel prices, estimates have it that there are around 140,000 older people who live in fuel poverty, which means that they need to pay more than 10% of their income just to heat their homes. So we were talking about around 1 in 5. But that's the figure before we start talking about the price increases that we've already seen in energy bills over the last 12 months and the news that we're increasingly seeing about, another major hike in energy bills that could actually be devastating for many older people.
I mean, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson's been saying today that people don't need to worry about not getting food on the table. But is there also a problem that people pick up a message that they need to cut back, and perhaps particularly older members of the population, and start cutting corners that they don't need to or shouldn't be cutting?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's the issue with increased fuel prices is that actually what that means for a lot of older people is that they choose not to put the heating on, or they certainly have that incredibly difficult choice about either putting the heating on or paying the shopping bill. So it is a stark choice, and in hearing the news that is around a lot on the news at the moment, people will be thinking along those lines, I think.
As far as fuel prices are concerned, the UK government says it's making every effort to work, particularly with the bigger fuel companies, and to sort of pick up the slack perhaps with those suppliers who are going out of business. So is the greater concern about the increase in terms of people's expenditure, the increase in food prices, because that's where people might actually see the greater increase?
The inflationary increase on food prices and the supply chain, the lack of HGV drivers is obviously going to push food prices up. I'm not convinced with statements coming out of government that actually everything will be okay when it comes to energy prices. And what I'm hearing is that those energy companies who are specialists and may have been providing competition in the marketplace for lower fuel prices and maybe specialist providers for older people, and the availability to switch is going to decrease. So, the services that we provide as care and repair to older people, part of that service is advising older people how to switch, because a lot of them, of course, are not as digitally included.
Well, it can be mind-bendingly difficult, or at least that's a perception, isn't it, for all of us, really, switching providers sometime.
Absolutely, but that option may be taken away is what I'm hearing, and that's a first line of defence that's gone in the way that we can help older people.
Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us on the programme. That's Chris Jones, Chief Executive of Care and Repair Cymru.